because it contains and it's well arranged. Almost all the design there, they are well arranged. Yeah, so this is the complete design. Let me zip it so that I can, because I already have it on. So let me compress it so that I will be able to send it on WhatsApp. I think it's around that 200 and something MB. So, and this is the structure. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen, sir.
Yeah, and this is the structure of each one of the file. This is how they are. So if you look at it, it looks like the file that I sent to you. The difference here is that this one now have what we call this Figma file. How many are there? They're around that. Yeah, 54. They almost like 54 design. Let me delete this one. This one is not this mark whatever stuff. It's not needed. I think I'll need to. So there is a lot of design here, and each one of them with their own Figma design. So if you look at this now, like this calculator here, there is this calculator app Figma. So this one is going to give you the Figma file, and there you'll be able to see the design itself, not just the picture alone. You see the actual design, and you can go there to interact with it and know the size, the colors, and all those things directly. You see it on the app. So this Figma is an app that you can use to design a site, and it comes with a lot of goodies like that you can use as a designer. But you know that that's not our own focus, but our own is to be able to use the design that is coming from there. And that's what I want to show you when you have a design or when the designer send you a Figma file or send you the design from any of the software that the person can use, but majorly it's Figma that is popular there. So you should be able to go there and interpret because there's not every time that you interpret your design from Figma, from image, the way you are doing currently. So that's not the way you always work with a proper, designer there. So you are going to be given access to the file, and on that file, you see all the design, and you can now start working on them. Not that you just have all the images, all those icons the way it is right now. You won't have them like that. So you should be able to export assets from the design file, and you should be able to interact with the element there by checking some of the basic CSS that the thing will be generating. What's going to be generating from you there is just few of them that you're going to use, majorly like the font size, font family, and so forth like that. But most of the time, the width and the height might not technically need it. Most especially the when you are dealing with a container that can expand or doesn't deal with a particular size. Whatever the Figma is generating for you is not really going to be right, but sometimes you need those stuff when you're dealing with the item that is inside a container. So for you to know the actual size of all those, the placement where it is. But sometimes those value you have to tweak them, and that's the reason why I need to show you. So if you look at all these 53 stuff, so some of them come with the Figma file there. So for example, like this link sharing, I know. Let me see the one that I think this tic tac toe. No, we are not there yet. This tic tac toe requires a lot of things. So let me. I want to expand this thing more so that it can show clearly on the video. So these are the only thing that I need to kind of zip together. So let me just zip everything, compress to zip file. The one I did before it's including this that one, which you don't need. The only thing you just need that is this top one. And once you unzip it, it will just give you all this folder directly. So you don't need to worry about this that one again. So once it's done, I will forward it to the WhatsApp. So let me go back and remove this one. Yeah,
Okay.
this one now is not file variant something. It's not supposed to be up to this. So this one is not file variant something because it's like he's doing it twice, like he did it twice. So it's not supposed to be twice, just once. Because it's showing the down one that this down one that I have here and the top one. But what you actually need is this top one here. So you don't need the down one. So where the you put everything. Or it's still okay, still pressing the stuff. So let me wait for it. And while is that one is loading, you when you extract the stuff, you're going to see some of this folder they are into there. One for the design, which is the starter file, and the other one is the one that contains the actual Figma file that you can now open. And you need to have an account with the Figma there. So to have an account with Figma, just go to your browser there, you type figma.com because you need to have an account with them before you can start using their application. And again, too, you need to register as for educational in there so that they can give you the developer tools that you need there. Because by default, they will assume you're a designer, which is not what you need. What you actually need there is the developer mode. So that you can see a lot of developers. When you are out free now, it is paid, but you what you do is to apply, which is something I've done already. So you just need to apply as a student. So once you apply as a student, they will accept your this thing, and from there you'll be able to use the dev mode. But this is it here. I've already logged in, but let me open the private so that doesn't have my account. So if you type Figma, that's not the way it's going to show. The one that is showing there is because I've already logged in. But if you type it without logged in, so you can see what is showing. So this is what you are going to see for the first time if you are not logged in. If you're not logged in, this is what you are going to see. So it's less for you now to, get started for free or you log in. You just need you just Gmail to sign up there. So click on login. It brings up the model, and that model will have options you can see. You can put your email and password on top of the time when I know this on Google. So you open up the dash for anything to kind, but you can order it login and do whatever you do. It is and you're allowed to log in there. And once you are inside, you are going to have all this file. But these are some of the projects that I've opened already. That's why it's showing all these files. So any project you open, you are going to see them here so that you can just click on them and continue from where you now open the one that you have for your system, because now the file will not be here by default. The file will not be here, so you need to open the file. And in order for you to open the file, you need to click on any one of them. So for example here, let me return this my to list. Let me return the view so that I can show the full name. So let me see the view. So the view should just be this details. Yeah. So as you can see, these are the files. So we have this Art Studio multi-page website. So this one is telling you that this is the actual file that you want to work with. So the one that you are going to load on Figma is the one that have the Figma in front of it. Any one of them that have the Figma, that's the file of the site that you want to work with. But the actual starter file is this. So look at this, for example, like this dictionary web app. This is the file that you're going to start with. But where's the design coming from? The design is coming from this dictionary web app Figma. So once you click on it, as you can see, it have this one file that end with .fig. This .fig file, that's what you are going to drag to Figma. So to make it easier, you can just make your Explorer as small like this, then you drag the file into Figma. Once you drag it to Figma, as you can see, it's going to create a copy for it. So it's going to create a copy for it. And once it's done, it will open it for you automatically and you're going to see the design. But it's loading, so it's importing the file. And once it's done importing the file, then the next thing, as you can see, you can open it by moving it so done. Once you click on done, as you can see, it's going to have it as part of the Figma project that you're working on. So look at the name, dictionary web app. So to see it, just double click on the file. So once you double click, Figma will open for you and you'll be able to see all the items. I hope you are listening.
Yes, yes, sir. I'm with you, sir.
Yeah, so you wait for it to load. It depends on your network. So this thing you need to, can you see? So it will show you all the design and the pages. As you can see that this thing is not just one page. That's why I call this one is the standard design because it comes with different page. All those ones you have been working with before, most of them is just single page. But you know, when you're working on it, when you're going to a site, it's not just one page that used to be there. You're going to have different pages and different action that can be carried out on the page. So this is it now. This is the design. We want to work on it now. So see, this is the layout where you have this item at the top. You have this toggle. This one is what you can use to change from the light mode to dark mode. Just like as you can see, when it is turned on, this is how the site is going to look like. You are in dark mode, and when it's not turned on, this is how it's going to look like. So which means you have two design there. So you have the light mode design and you have the dark mode design there. So and as you can see, any one of these items, once you click on it, from your own side, you're not going to have this option activated, this option down here, which is known as the dev mode. Currently, I'm on dev mode, but your own, what you're going to see there is design mode. So when you're in design mode, as you can see, the way it's showing at the sidebar here is not different. The way you'll be seeing things like a designer, like you want to design the stuff, that's what you're going to be seeing. But this is one of what you need as a developer. What you need is the dev mode. So the dev mode now, you're not going to have it there by default, but we're going to set up everything after I'm done with this thing. So you're going to share your screen and you do the registration and you set up everything so that you can have this option of the dev mode. If not, if you don't do the registration correctly, it will tell you to make payments before you can use the dev mode or to join a particular company before it works. But what you do is to apply that as a student so that they will give you for free and you'll be able to use it there. So once you are in dev mode, as you can see, you select the language that you want to use. So since it's CSS or it's Android, I've installed some stuff here. But your own, what you are going to have here is just CSS as a language. You can actually convert the design to other language. Maybe you are creating an app for Android. So you can select this one and anytime you click on any item, it will kind of bring the code that's related to Android. But the one you need is CSS. And again, to which units, which is something that we've talked about. You know, we talk about the pixels and the RAM. So
Yeah.
please love to use this RAM. So that's why I set it to RAM. By default, it's going to be pixels, but I'm using the RAM unit. So which means anytime you click on any of these items, you see that this thing will change now. And it will show you, can you see? So it will show you whatever properties that is related to this text that I just click on. So the font, this is the color of the text. This is the font that is used. So the font family is Inter. As you can see, the font size of this text here is 1.125. So you don't need to start doing like the other one that you be guessing the value in your head. No, it will give you all the value that's related to this particular item that you click. So if I click on this keyboard text, you see that it will change it to the value. As you can see now, this one is at 4 rem. This one now is saying that this one is 1.125 rem. That's the font size of the text. But for this big keyboard here, the text here, as you can see, the font weight is 700, the font size is 4 rem, and the font family is Inter. Here. So which means when you want to deal with this design, you need to install the Inter font because this design here is based on this Inter. And clicking on this icon too, you see that it will give you the assets. So this is where you can get the asset. Can you see this is the asset? And you can now export it out with any you know, type of the file you want. This is the color that if you need the color on the text, it's going to give you. And for the assets, which is this icon here, if you want to download it, once you click on it, it will show it under the assets. So you can export or you can just click directly from here to download. And you can set the type. So you can download it as PNG, JPEG, SVG, or PDF. You know, we don't use PDF. So most of the time, what you use is this SVG or PNG because you want it to be transparent. Because here now, the thing is not having background. And you don't want white stuff to show. This white that is showing here, you don't want it to show. So you can download it as PNG or SVG and it's going to, you know, give you the correct icon there. And that is why you see all those design you are working with, all those files are already like they are there already. This is how they exported out all the assets. Just go to the assets you want. Beside it, you are going to see this download button. Or if you are not seeing the download button, under this export, just click on this plus and you see the preview of whatever you want to download. As you can see, this is a preview and you can change the size here or the type of the asset you want to download, whether you want to download it in PNG or you want to download it in SVG. And when you are done, you click on this export or you can just click on the download beside it directly here. So once you click on the download, it will download the correct type that is specified, as you can see here. So it will download it to your download folder, and you can go there and you copy the asset into your project folder. So once you go to your download, as you can see, it's here now. So anytime I need to use it, I will just copy it to that place and I will be able to use it. The same thing too with the logo. Just click on it. It will show you under the asset and you can download it directly. So this is the advantage of you working with the software directly. You see everything, even the line that is here, you're going to see the color of the line or how that line got to that side. So just click on it, you see that the width of it is, but here now I don't need the width. I will use my CSS to do that one, but the height is necessary because the height is not changing, but the width can change based on the screen size. So the way I need this height here, which is this 0.0625, which is around 1 pixels. So this is 1 pixels now. So this is telling me that this line now, when you want to generate it or when you want to create something like this, the height of the stuff should be 1 pixels. And this is the background that is here. This is the color to give you this one. If you are generating it yourself, but if you are using your HR, then you can do the same thing to just change the border color to this color instead of background because the HR is using border, it's not using background. But if you are creating it yourself, then you use this background directly there. So it's kind of easier to work with when you have the actual the file to the design. Again, too, up here, all this icon is something you can design yourself because this one you can't copy this. You can copy it, but there's an action here because the thing will change the color will change and it will move to this side when you click on it. And when it is here, when you click again, it will go back to this side. So which means you need to create this thing yourself. And how do you create it? Use what we've talked about. Just click on the item. It will take you the size. Like the thing, as you can see, the height of the that circle is 0.875 rem. If you are using rem setting, and the height too is the same thing. Border radius is this, and the background of that circle. So for the outer one, if you want to know that one too, as you can see, it will change, and it will tell you the width and the height of. So the height of the box is 1.25 rem, the width is this, which is what thing you need because you know that that width will not change. So you have to use the width is giving you here since it's not going to change. But if something that is going to change, then you have to be the one that will handle that particular value. The same thing too with this box. So when you're done with that one, you can move into this box and you click on it to tell you the size of this box. So you can see the since this thing is going to change based on the screen size, so I don't need the width. I don't need to set the width because it will be maintain this width there for all the screen, which is something we don't want. So for the height, you need to make sure that it's of this height because it's going to be the same across, whether you're on mobile or you're on desktop. But here now we only see the desktop design. So we only see the desktop and mobile. Can you see that here? So everything's there. So that is like mobile. And so this one, it have templates. As you can see from the naming, they have the naming on top of them. So we have the template, we have the mobile design, and you have the
Hello, sir.
desktop design.
Show me the mobile, please. I'm not seeing the mobile.
The mobile is here. This is it. It's by the side there. Everything is separated there. This is it.
Okay.
So this is the mobile, and that's how all the design are there. So this is what you are going to. This is how you are to display the stuff on mobile. This the top here is not. I don't see anything much there. It's just the spacing that is making it to look like that. And again, too, don't forget there's some action on this page. There's some action that you carry out. So one of the action is this one here.
Okay.
You can see when the thing is toggle, they see that the stuff has changed to this right side. Before it was on the left, but when you click on it, that circle will change from where it is before and it will go to the opposite side there. But all these things require JavaScript, and that's why most of these kind of a design now you can't just work on them unless you practice it. You can see this one too. Anytime you click on this is what we are now doing. See that this is what we did last time. And that's the reason I want to do that. I want to complete that stuff because this thing is telling you that anytime you click on this stuff, this one will pop out. So, and if you click on it again, it is out, it will leave. Or if you leave the stuff, it will just, and that's this is one of the application of positioning that we talk about. As you can see that this thing is positioned on top of the search box. So it is positioned there, so, and it's not shifting anything out. And that's the application of what uh we did last time. And I'm going to work on this thing again today to complete it because I said anytime you're on top of that text, it should kind of pop this one out. That's when it's going to pop it out. So I'm going to show you how to do something like this. But some of the stuff here, it requires JavaScript. It requires that most especially this pronounce stuff are here. Like anytime you play this in, is going to pronounce this word here. So it requires JavaScript before for the design. You can work with design or the functionality they are going to be missing. And there's no way you want to build something like this now that you don't have the functionality, that you only add lesson. And for the color, this is what we call design system here now. So this thing is telling you all the colors that is used on the design. So these are the colors. So in case you want to create variable for them, you just click on any one of them, or these are the code. As you can see, the code has been provided for you. You only just to copy the color and create uh a variable for them in case you need it. And for the fonts, as you can see here, they use sans serif, they use serif, and it have this mono, different type for this fonts that they are using there. So for the heading, this is what they are using. So you are going to use 24 pixels and that whatever stuff. But I don't interact with this one. No, what I normally do is just to go to where it's being used, click on it, and it will give me the particular value. And for your inputs or for your search box, these are different modes that your search bar can be in. So search box when it is not when it's just normal. So that means user has not entered the stuff. So when it is filled, so which means somebody has already typed something there. This is placeholder, but this is when you've already typed something. This is how your design should look like when they type something and they are not on that box. And this is what is going to show anytime they are inside the box and they've already typed something. And this is how it's going to show anytime there is error with the box. So here now you see like me, these are different mode that your box can be. And you need to design it in a way that it will accommodate all these states. Because this is how it's going to look like in dark mode. So you can see that there's a lot of work to be done. And for all this icon too, this is how it looks like when you are not there, and this is how it look like when you are on top of it. See, so you need to download these two icons. When you're on top of it, this is what is going to show. When you are not on top of it, this is what is going to show. And we are going to use this one. I think let me use this one for the input. What's the design that we worked on? That design that we're working on, that's okay. I think this is it. So let me click on go live so that I can open it. And I'm going to borrow this icon here so that I can see how to do this over stuff to change the icon. It's just simple stuff with normal JavaScript. No, with normal CSS. Because CSS allow you to kind of apply style. So you can see here. So instead of us using this icon, I'm going to replace it with that new icon so that we can switch it based on whether you are when you are on top of it or not. Like that. And as you can see, this search box here or this box is just like what is showing on the design. But on the design here on the Figma, they are telling you the line color whenever it is active. This is active now, and this is when you type something. And when you don't type anything, this is the placeholder that is it. But on the Figma, based on this design here, it's showing you how each one of them is going to look like when you are in that particular mode. So when you've not typed anything, you have the way it's going to display. When you've typed something and when you've typed something and you are still inside it, this is how it's going to look like. And when you've not typed anything or there is any error, this is how the line is going to be. So the line is going to be this red when there is error. And these are what you need to do. And again, too, as you can see here, these are the design for all these items. So when it is normal, this is how it is. But when you're on top of them, this is how the design is going to look like. So for this one now, this one is when it is active. So this is what it's going to show and so forth like that. So that's how you always work.
Oh,
Designer with
that,
yes,
you see about that placeholder stuff, that search button. You see,
yes.
it has this search on here on it.
What?
Do you that search
Your audio is cracking. What did you say?
code?
I can't hear you. The audio is cracking.
Are you hearing me now clearly, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I have
Are you hearing me, sir?
to. Yes,
Okay. So I'm talking about hello, sir.
yes.
Okay. So I'm talking about that search button, that search icon that is on that this thing, that input. So like how did they put that icon on it?
Yes, now that one is just simple stuff now. Let me, I think, let me do something like that. So let me go into it now. Let me check this file. I think I will send it once I'm done so that I don't want the thing to disrupt the network. because I still have some stuff to do. So let me quickly do them and I'll be able to send the file to you. So let me close this. Okay, let me copy what I need from it because I don't want this Figma to start slowing down my. Because this thing I used to chop a lot of memory. To see it here.
And about that color, this color now, this one does not have name, and the one we used to work with used to. This one is having like a code A00. How will I do this thing for it?
What's that?
The variable for it. You get what I'm saying? The color, like the color here now is
Yes.
not having like two stuff like that. This color now is having a code like A
Yeah, you
zero
be the
all
one
those.
that will create that now. Yeah, that's why you're a developer now. You create a name according to what you can look at it now. This purple now is like a primary color. So you can call it primary color. So this is like an error color now. This red now you can. So you are the one that will create all those things. That's
Okay.
developer. That's why I'm showing you now that you see how to work with this thing in like in a normal sense. Because the designer will not be giving you name. Oh. You, the developer, have to be the one that will create the name yourself. So let me download all this icon. Uh, so that's why I said we're going to be working with all this kind of stuff now. But the problem with them is that most of them require JavaScript. So for the interaction. Uh, okay, that's one. So let me this one. Okay. This one has not been downloaded. Let me download it so that we can use it on that page. Yeah, I think these are the stuff that I need here. Oh, yeah. So if you look at them, even sometimes some will actually be of color, or this one also specified name. So that's for you to create name for them. So it's not that's why it is system. You are setting up a system that works for you. Most that you do it. So it's a system. Find
And
this
sir,
system and you define.
hello, sir.
Yes.
So I said it is very compulsory for you to use the exact color they give you, like not something similar.
You can use another thing now, just that you know that the stuff will not follow your day. Like, when you're working on a proper design, this is what they want. You can't just change it to another thing. But if you are doing it as practice, then you can change it to anything you want. But in a real sense,
Okay.
don't change color because that's what they want. That's the brand color. They want to give you a design and this is what they want. You are not changing it to another color. They will reject it.
Okay, sir.
How
Okay,
will you
sir.
change somebody else's brand color to your own?
No, no, like, when I am and like I'm just asking, like maybe yellow now, maybe something similar to yellow, like
You can't use
maybe
something different. Except
okay,
working for yourself, then you can be doing
okay,
nothing. But if you are doing
okay,
something recent, you don't change whatever they gave you. If you change, they will reject
okay,
it. It means you are doing something else.
okay, okay, sir.
Everything you are seeing there, they are very important because they've already showcased the stuff that this is what we want to have. Oh. But you now, when you are not developing it, you are not doing something, you are not using another color. Ah,
Hmm.
you order for rice, they are not giving you amala. Are they not food? Both of them are food now.
Hmm.
But oh, it's not amala that I order. You are giving me nothing. So even though both of them are food, they are not the same. So if they took color red, you go with that red. Except you are doing it for yourself. So let me copy all these icons so that we can do it and do that input too. And anytime you want to do, anytime you put something inside the input, the trick there, I mentioned it last time, the trick there is to add container. The trick there is to have a container. You can't put anything inside input. Input is a self-closing tag, so you can't put anything inside it. So since it's a self-closing tag, you cannot put something. So what you have to do is that you have to make you have to put that input and that icon in a particular container. So that container is the one that will now have all these line whatever stuff. So you have to remove everything that used to be on the input and apply it on the container. So you have to do a lot of work if you want to put something like that. So like this search box now, so let me go to the HTML. So let's rebrand it so that we can use. If you look at it currently, we only have input. But if you want to put something inside it, then you have to put it in a container, which I'm going to use div. So I'm going to call it input container like this. So inside this container, that's where you now have both the input and the icons that you want to put, whether it's on the right or it's on the left. You can place it anywhere you want. But since we want it on the this thing, so no, it's not icon search. I don't have anything like icon search. Okay, it is icon now. The name is different. So it is known as this icon iconoi like this. So save. So if you save it, the thing will not arrange correctly the way it's supposed to be. So you need to apply some CSS. So look at it. This is how to do it. Can you see the way it's now displayed on the screen? So to work with it, what you have to do is to have a container. That container is going to have both the icon and the image. Let me copy this code. Where is the color code on this SVG so that I can reuse it across. I can see now that the icon is not looking like what's supposed to be there, but I think let me leave it like this. Let's just continue with what we want to do. So what we need to do now is to make sure that all the styling that I are seeing on this input will not be there. Then this input is going to full everything, and this one is going to position as absolute in its parent because you don't want it to take any space like this. You want to remove it, but inside that parent, you want to move it around. And this is one of the application of this um, positioning that we talked about there. So instead of us doing this one on the input, we are supposed to do it on the input wrapper like this. So I don't even need to use this search box because we really have. So what we need to do here is that all this styling that is on the input before, they are going to be on the wrapper. So it's a wrapper that is going to look like the normal this thing. Is that not what I gave it? So what is the class for input container, not wrapper? It is
Yes.
container. So container. So we save it. You see now that everything will now have that line, as you can see. But inside now, it's showing to the user that the input is not the same thing as what you style. So what we need to do now is to talk to this input and remove all its line. Remove all the line. Make sure that it's covered up its parent because now there's some extra space here. So what we need to do here is that the padding that is here is not going to be on this element. So it's not going to be here because you don't want the spacing to be inside that container. So the input should cover up its parent. But now it's showing that that line is here. So what we need to do, first of all, let's display it as flex first. So you want to do it in this way. You can display it as flex. And once you display it as flex, to move everything that is inside it side by side like that. So inside this input container, we have input. So what we can do here is that this input will take every space that, like, look at it, we still have some extra space. So all this extra space, we want the input to just take it by default. So if you save it now, you see that this one will go to the end and the input will take all the space like this. I hope you can see it. So inside the input, we need to give it that padding. So it's the input that we have the padding. So as you can see, it's there. But this thing is showing the line. We don't want that line. We don't want to show that line to the user. So what you can do is to just remove the border. So when you see the border now, can you see now? It will look like it is the input that is there. But it's not input. The input is actually here. Can you see that the input is here? So we still need to remove this outline too, because we don't want the outline when it is focused like that. So, but how do we do this thing? The first thing we need to do is look at it. You see that there is some kind of a white stuff here. There is a white
Yes.
going on here. That thing is the background of your input. By default, input has background of white. So we need to remove it. I just say background should be none, or can just say background color should be transparent. So which means whatever color that is there before, it will be removed. Just use the color that is coming from the parent. As you can see, that line is no more there because we remove it. Another thing we can do is to do overflow hidden here. In case something is going outside, so you can just hide it. This is another thing you can hide it like that. So anything that is going outside of that container, it will remove it. So look at it now. See how it looks like that. So what we just need to do here is this icon that we had here. We just need to add padding to the left of this or to the right. So on the container, the padding right, because we don't want that thing to jump back to the edge. This rain again. but rain is always fall every day. So padding right, we can just do maybe around this 0.5 rem so that this icon doesn't jam. Look at it, the icon is on the edge. So we don't want the icon to be on the edge here. So what we can do is I'm on rain again.
Sorry.
Saved. So can you see now? There is that space there.
Okay.
I see hear me, rain is falling. Oh.
Yes, I can hear you clearly, sir. I can hear you clearly.
So here now, as you can see, it looks like it's the input, but our yash like has exposed now. So when you click on it, there is a line that is coming out anytime it is inside the stuff. So we need to remove that line. So what we can just do here is to do input container like this. The input anytime it is focused, that's where that line will come outside. We can just say at line. So at line should be none because that line is at line, is not border. So there is a difference between at line and border. So now if you save it, anytime you are inside, as you can see, it's not showing. So to the user now, it will not be as if this box is the input, you are putting the icon inside it. Whereas that's not the way it is. So you cannot put anything inside input. So if you want it to look like this, what you do is you create a container, you put the input and you put the icon. And if you want the icon too to be on the right, you can do it here too. Just move it before the input. You see that it will bring the icon too on the right hand side if you want like this. So you can put it on the right or you can put it on the left. Here now it's now on the left here. So and you see that it's on the left. So depending on where you want to place the icon from your HTML code, you place it there. If you want it to be at the end, you put it at the end. If you want it to be at the start, then the icon will be at the start like this. So let me just leave the two of them, but it's not a must that the two of them be like that. And so on this side, what we can just do is to do padding in line because we need to put padding on the left and right because it can't jump out to the edge of the icon. So padding inline, inline means left and right. So just use 0.5. So which means on the left and on the right is going to give us that spacing. Then the input is at the middle. This is where the input is, and the input will not be past that line. So this is where it will stop because that's where the input is. But the user will not see it that something is actually here because we've removed the line and we've removed the background. So whatever the background that the parent is using, that's what it's going to use. So which means if I use background maybe like orange here now, that's the same background it will be there because it is transparent. But if you don't apply this transparent on the input, it will bring out its own white background. So if I disable this line, can you see? The input will bring out its own line, its own background there. Because by default, all inputs have this background of white, but you need to remove it so that the parent tone will be the one that will be showing there. Not so it will not act as if is the input that actually have the stuff, but it's not. So it's the parent that have all these things. But you remove the child one. And there's something too I want to do here, which is not necessary because anytime you enter this input, you want to change the line of this or you want to change the color of the. So how do you do that? You either use JavaScript or you use CSS selector here that is known as. And what I want to do here is that input container anytime it have something like input that is focus. What did I type here? So anytime this input container have this thing focus, what did I want to do? I want to change the border color to maybe like green or whatever stuff. And what am I doing here? This is a selector here that I've not talked about before. So this as is a selector. So this as is part of the pseudo selector. And what is there is to check whether this other selector has this particular one that you put inside. So for example here now, I can have something like this as, then I have this close. So this is a selector here. I have, let me put it. So I have H1 like this. So what I'm saying here is that you are looking for H1, but that H1 does it have close? If it have close, do this thing. But if it doesn't have close, don't do anything. So for example here now, if I put the color to be green, the only time it will start H1 is when that H1 have this particular class close. Just like the name as. Does this thing have whatever you are putting inside the bracket? If it have it, it will apply it. But if it doesn't have it, it will not apply it. So if I go to the page now, and if I look for anywhere that is H1, we have H1, yes. So now if I give it class, and here now I give it that close. So since the H1 is not having that class close, then it's going to change the color from whatever that is there before, and it's supposed to. Is that not what I put there?
No, close, yeah.
That's what it's
No, so
supposed
far
to.
you have, you can see that dot.
That's what I have now.
No, no, like I'm talking of that dot, that dot.
Hello? Ah, Omo, this rain. I can't hear you.
No, like I'm,
So
hello,
look
sir, I'm
at it
hearing you
now.
now.
Can you see? Let me change the color. Let me change the color to this thing because this thing is not. So let me put it as red. So anytime this container, anytime it have this input, anytime there is input inside it that have this particular stuff, the color should now be red. As you can see, applying it on the parent is not applying it on the child. This is just advanced stuff. I will talk about it later on, like that, because I don't want this thing to this rain that is falling now. So make e no go just disturb the network. So let me move forward and complete this particular stuff. So which other thing that I need to work on? Yeah. So we don't want this thing to come outside like this. We only want it to come outside anytime you are on top of this stuff. And again too, we don't want to use this icon. The icon we want to use are this group 4. These are the icon we want to use here. So anytime you're on top of it, it will show that one that is clear. But anytime you're not on top of it, it will show the one that is not like the one that is faded out. So let me open the button. So these are the images here. So let me replace it. So I'm going to add two images here. So the first one, so the first image is going to be this group. I don't like this kind of a name. I don't like my name to have space. So please always make sure that your this thing is not having space. Let me just call it icon one like that without space. And this one is going to be this icon one. Just to represent that is the one that is open. So here is going to be icon one dot png. So save, which will have the icon change. I hope you can still hear me. Hope the network is still okay. Yeah.
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, so the icon is here now, but it's doing what I don't want it to do. So again, let me bring out the second one. So icon one, then this one is going to be SVG. Like that. And this is, can you see what is happening? This one I don't like PNG. Can you see the difference between PNG and SVG? And
Yes.
to increase
No.
SVG anyhow, you see that the thing will start blowing out. Can you see? Can you see that the thing started blowing out? This is the disadvantage of PNG icon. When you over like expand the stuff, it will start losing the quality. Can you see the play button? It start pixelating. But if you check the other one, by the time they are out, you see that that one is not doing whatever that is happening right now. Let me expand the screen so that you can see it clearly. Let me reduce this in. Why are they now there? So if you look at it now, look at the different, look at them. Look at this play button here. Can you see that it is clear
Yeah.
compared to this one?
Yeah.
So
No.
SVG, no matter the size, it will always clear. Whether you expand it or you compress it, you always have the best quality because that one is using mathematics to draw the stuff behind the scene. But with the PNG, that one you cannot just expand it anyhow. Whatever icon that you exported out, the size that you exported out there, you can't just expand it more than that. If you expand it, it will start looking jaggish like this, which is not something that you want. So if you are exporting your assets, always make sure that they are exported out as SVG so that it is come outside the way it's supposed to be or with a clearer picture there. I hope you are still there because this rain.
Yes, sir. I'm with you. I'm 100, sir.
Okay, because rain is really falling right now. So what we need to do is that now let's go back into our CSS. For the CSS we have there before, it was for something else. So we need to go and change it. I think it's yeah, there's it here. So we need to make sure that all the images that is inside it, they are of the same size. So what can we do? We can just say image like this. No, we can't do we're not using this kind of CSS. So header, the button, the image that is there. So the height, should be 100%. The weight should be 100%. So object fits. So this is how you can talk to your image, whether you want it to cover its parent or you want it to. Those are the way you used to do background size. So whatever you used to do with background size, you can do it for image too by using this object fit. As you can see, you can make it to be contain, cover, fill, or none. But I'm going to make it as contain so that the image, can you see now? The image are not expanding anyhow again. They maintain the size of the appearance. So whatever the size of this button, that's what they are going to maintain. And that's why I said the height should be 100 and the width should be 100. And again, if I expand this in again, maybe you just, can you see how clear this one is compared to this?
Yeah.
So SVG will,
Yeah. Yeah.
the PNG will lose the quality when you expand it anyhow. But SVG, it will always maintain that size, no matter the screen size. So anytime you're exporting your assets, always make sure that it's given to you as a SVG so that you don't lose the quality. So what do you want to
Okay.
what we want to do is that the first one we don't want to see it. So the header, the button, the image, first of type. I've already explained this one before. So I want to select the first image that is there. By default, the display should be blocked, which is what is there by default. No, it is inline, but I want it to be blocked. So last of type, so the last image that is there, when you are not doing anything with it, it should be none. We don't want to see that second icon. So now if I save it, you see that it's only the first one that is shown. But anytime we are now on top of this image, or anytime we're on top of the container here, we want the second image to show and we don't want the first image to show. That's what the over state is telling you from that design. Anytime you're on top of it, you want to change it to another stuff. So, and this is how to do the selector. So the header, the button, anytime it is over, the image that is inside it, the last of type that is there, the display should be blocked, and at the same time, the first one that is there, we don't want to see it. And let me type everything so that you can. So this one should be none. So this is what I'm doing here. By default, the first image that is inside the button, we want to see it. But the second one or the last one that is here, we don't want to see it. But anytime you now hover on this button, that first image, we don't want to see that one too. And we want to see the second one. So anytime the button is over, the last one will show, the first one will not show. But if the button is not over, the first one will show, the last one will not show. So save it. And now, if you go to the page, as you can see, it will always switch the icon. Let me remove the background. That apply background, yeah. Actually apply background. So let me remove it. So look at it here. The background should be none. The background should be transparent. The background should be transparent. I don't want anything at the back. The image is already okay like that. So look at it. When you are not on top of that button, when you are not on top of the button, the first image that is there is going to be displayed as block. The last one there is not going to show, which is that second one. But now, when the button is over, the image, the first one that is there, we don't want to see it. And the second one that is not there, we want to see it. Because don't forget, in the HTML there, we have two icons or we have two images. This is the first one and this is the last one. And that's what I'm saying there. Anytime this button is over, the first one, I don't want to see it. This is the only one I want to see. But when the button is not over, I want to see the first one and I don't want to see the second one. And that's what is happening here.
Okay. But sir, where is that first of type and last of type?
It's just a separate way, just another CSS stuff. If you don't want to use that, just give all this your image class. So for example,
Okay.
I can just give this one class active, like this, or no, default, because that's not it. And when it is active, so I will just say this one now is going to be class active. So instead of using your first of type, second of type, just replace them. So all these first of type
Okay.
now, they are just going to
The class will be
be
okay.
default. It's just that's why I told you for every crazy selector, there is always a simple selector. This one said I don't even need to put image. I can just put it as a active like this. Because that's why again too, this one you don't need image. So this one too you don't need image because it's a class already. It will select it. So for every crazy selector, there's always a simple selector. So save it, and if you go back to the page, I see it's still working. So it's just another way of selecting the image, the first one or the second one. But if you don't want to do that, just give them class, and you use the class to style them. So it's not a must that you use But this one is very important. This one is very important because here now I'm saying the when the button is over, that's the only time it will do this thing. So the this stuff that is inside it, this one now is very very important. This over because it's only when we over on the button. You can see that I did not put the over on the image. I put it on the button. It's a button because they are inside button. So whether you over on the image or the button, it's still the same thing as you are on top of that button because whatever your family hold, you are the one that have it too. So like they will inherit that stuff. So when you're on top of it, you're on top of the button. Even if it's the image that you're on top, you are still on top of the button because those images are inside the button. So you are still on top of the button. So and that's what we are saying here that anytime the button is over, the default class that is there, display should be none, and the one that is with the class active should show there. So I don't care whether it is image or is it text. As long as this class, I can find it there, it will work. But if you don't want to use the class, you can use the other one that I use. So it's not a must that you do it like that. So you just use class or you use the elements. But you know there are two images. And how do I differentiate between the first one and the second one? That's why I use that first of type and that last of type. Because I can't just say image. If we said image, it will affect the two of them. But I need to work on them separately. So that's why I use that first of type to target the first one that is inside that parent, which is always going to be this, the first one that is there. And when you say second of time, this is the one that is there. But if you change the layout, that old one will not work again. But with the CSS, this one will still work. It doesn't care whether it's this active that is coming first or the last one. It will always work. But assuming I'm using that old method, this one no will not work again. If I use that old method, this is what is going to show when it is not active, and this is what is going to show when it is active. So that's the disadvantage of that one. But with class, it will always look for that class. It doesn't care whether it's the one that comes first or it's the default one that is first. But for the old one that I use, you must arrange it like this. The first one must be the icon you want to show by default, and the second one must always be the active one if you are using that old method that I use. But again, too, that's what I want to do here. So anytime this stuff is over, so I want to do some crazy stuff here too. But it's not that much. It's just a letter instead of using CSS. So what we want to do here, this one should have a display. So this one should display of none like this. So we don't want to see it at all. This our search box. We don't want to see it. The only time we want to see it is when you hover on this button. But how do we do that? So how do we do that? That's where this as comes in. So we have this header. Anytime it has a button that is over, then inside it we have this. What is that? What is it? What is okay? The search box. I think that it is search box. Then
That folks.
the display should be block or flex rather, not block. Oh. I think I'm using flex there. I'm using flex property. Yeah, flex. So this one I don't need it right now. The display should be none by default. So what are we doing here? What I'm doing here is that the header, I'm checking, can you see the header? I'm checking if there is anything like a button. I'm checking whether you hover on a button, like you're on top of a particular button there. So if you're on top of that button, we look at the search box that is now inside this header. So that search box now, change the display to this. Can you see? So anytime I'm on top of the button, that's the only time the thing will come outside.
Hmm. Can you explain again
This is
for
it
me?
here. This as e used to check whether you have something inside the particular element or whether that element have a particular stuff here. So look at the structure. It is coming. Look at the structure. So the structure is header. Inside the header, can you see that we have button? And again, inside that header, we have this search box, right? We have these two elements.
Yes, sir.
What I'm not saying is that anytime we have this header and there's a button there that is over, so this search box that is there, we want to change the display to block to flex. Don't forget by default here, the display of this search box is none. That's why it's not coming out. So the display is none. But we want to change the display to flex anytime you're on top of this button. But this box here is not inside the button. They are not inside each other. So they are not inside each other. So you can't just say when the button is over, oh, you want to style this one. It's not possible because they are not inside each other. So another way of doing it is by talking to this header directly. But header is not what we are hovering on. What we are hovering on is this button. But with the help of this
Okay.
as, we can ask this header that, do you have any button that is over inside you? Then if you have it, then there is a search box that is inside the header, change the display to flex. What we are doing here is that we are asking this header, do you have a button inside you that is having over, that someone is hovering on it like here? Then if it is there, look for a search box that is inside you, then change the display to flex. That's what he's saying. We have this header. We want to style this search box. But the only time we want to do it is when there is a button that is over inside this header. Hope it's clear.
Hmm.
This is it.
Uh,
We have header,
yeah.
we have header, we have header, we want to check something inside, we are checking something. This as used to check whether this particular element on the left have whatever do you have inside the bracket. If it have it, then we want to do something with this one. The only time need to do something with it, look at it, just normal selector now. It's just the and selector that combined together with child selector. So we are looking for the search box that is inside header, but not just any search box like that. Not just any header. That header must have a button that is over before it can do this thing. We are looking for search box that is inside header, but not just any header. That header must have this button that is over. It doesn't need to be this button, oh, it can be any button inside. As long as there is a button inside the header that you're on top of it, we want this thing to come outside.
Okay.
And I think
Okay.
this thing
Okay. Okay.
is far. What did I? Okay, 110. Let me.
Sir?
No. I'm talking about this. The 900 clearly. So I want the thing to be closer to the buttons. Yeah, I want it to be closer. I think 80 should be okay. I want it to be closer to the button, not yeah. As you can see,
Okay.
so anytime I'm on top of
Okay.
the button, this one will come outside. But what it's doing is that we are asking the header first. Do you have a button that is over? Then if you have the button, there is a search box inside you. Just change the display. I'm replacing this display of none with the display of flex, but it will only happen if the header is having a button that you're on top of it like this.
Okay.
But again too, we still want this thing to appear anytime you are inside it too. Anytime you are inside it, we want it to appear too. So what you can just do here is to do, or what you can just do here is, or search box is over like this. So is that you're inside the search box, or there is a button that you hover on, or this search box inside it we have the input that is focus. Search box. Because I want this thing to happen in any of these scenario there. Anytime this button, because this is one that will trigger the stuff. This one is a way of doing it without using JavaScript. Because if you want this thing to come outside, anytime you click on the button, you need to fire JavaScript before that one will happen. So we can actually attach JavaScript that anytime you click on it, it will work. So it should come outside. So we can do that one, but that one requires JavaScript. But we are not using JavaScript right now, we're using CSS to do it. And in order for you to do with CSS without JavaScript, we need to ask this question from the header. Header, do you have a button that someone is on top of it? If you have something like that, then this search bar that is there, change the display to flex. Or if there is this search box, anytime you hover on top of it too, it should still display as flex because we don't want it to disappear. Because anytime you're on top, can you see? Anytime you're on top of it, we don't want it to disappear. That's why it is that this second one is here. So when you're on top of that box, we want it to display as flex. Because if all these conditions are not there, it once you just leave this button, this thing will disappear. As you can see, anytime you leave the button, it will disappear. But we don't want this thing to disappear when you're inside it too. Anywhere inside the box, as long as you're somewhere inside the box, it will always give you that display of flex. But once you leave, it will disappear because it's not seeing this thing again. Another thing that is there too is that anytime you focus on this box, we don't want it to disappear too. Or you're already inside the box, so anytime it is focused, we don't want it to leave. So that's what all this thing are doing. The search bar, the input that is here, anytime it is focused, don't leave. Or instead of even using this one, since we know that when you're inside it, you are still hovering on it. So you don't even need to use this one, but I'm just leaving it there. So this is just CSS stuff. Once you enter the box, or once you're on top of this button, we want the image to change from that first one to the second one based on the class that we have here. I will send you the CSS stuff and or the file. So you look at it and you play with it and you apply it to
Yeah.
other stuff. So here, and you can type,
Yes, sir.
do anything you want. It will always stay there. But once you leave, then that one will disappear. And the only time it can come outside is when you firstly go to this button and you can quickly drag. If you can see, you have to quickly enter this box so that it doesn't disappear. Because if you go and if you say you want to pass like this, it will not because you already leave the button. So you have to drag it like this so that and you have to do it quickly so that it quickly move inside the box and it will not disappear. Because if you don't quickly move inside the box, it will disappear. And that's why you need JavaScript. Because with JavaScript, you don't need all these. Just click on the button, it will bring it out, and if you click it again, it will remove it. So that's how the thing works. So I'm going to send a file to you. This file, I will zip it, send it to you and other project so that you uh, go through the stuff. But first, let me stop this video and you share your screen and do the registration for the Figma. So
About that feedback, my laptop is down right now.
we
I'm
can do
actually
it.
late.
Yeah, we can do it later. It's not something that it's a must do it today. You can do it anytime.